All right, so why don't we get started? So let me quickly walk you through how we're going to be doing this course, how it is going to be offered in terms of the content is concerned. So if you go to TrainingRite.com as the website, you will notice that there are a lot of links in here. Under the courses, you will find the advanced QTP UFT training as well as you'll find the QTP training. Right? Okay, now this particular course that I am going to offer is going to be very different from what I have done in the past. The reason for that is I will be offering it as a combo course, meaning that it's going to be a mix and match of both. We will be offering you the QTP training, which is the slightly older version, and then we will also be offering you the latest version, which is the UFT. So in terms of the contents of the course, I'm not going to read it bullet by bullet, but then you could go and then you could see, you could read from here what we're going to be covering. The main thing that I basically want to offer here today is a slight explanation of how this is a combo course. What happens is when you are in the market looking for a job, it could be a QTP job, meaning that they are looking for a QTP software automation test engineer. So this QTP person, right, which is fast forward a few weeks, you are going to be that person. So you would be working on that QTP tool. Right? So this QTP as a tool has different versions. I mean, I am not going to go anything before 10, but I can tell you the version 10 and version 11, and there was also 11.5, and the latest one today as we speak here is version 12. Right. So this is the older version, and these are sort of like the newer versions, right? And so I'm going to give you the best of both the worlds, meaning that I'm going to give you QTP 10 as well as QTP, which is the latest one, which is a QTP 12. The difference between 11, 11.5, and 12 is not much. Basically, they were trying to fix some bugs, and then they added some patches and stuff like that. Minor changes as far as the features are concerned. So we're going to be dealing with the latest one, so I will be showing you everything about 12, but we will also be dealing about 10. Now, some of you have this question like, why in the world are you teaching us 10? Well, the answer to that is QTP has been around for many years now, right? So QTP is a license-based tool. Unlike Selenium, which is an open source, Selenium, you're not paying any money for Selenium because Selenium is free, right? Now, Selenium free and QTP is license-based. So when you talk about license-based, that means that you would be paying dollars to get the license of that. So QTP 10, a lot of companies, they have the license for QTP 10, and they don't come cheap. Each single license is pretty much close to $10,000. So imagine some company that have invested in QTP 10, a couple of years back, and they already spent about like $20,000, $30,000. Now it's going to be difficult for them to justify, running into buying the newer version of it, which is QTP 12, spending another 20, 30, 40 grand on that. So they would just like to see what you could get out of version 10. So you cannot be handicapped by not having exposure to 10, so that is the reason we are exposing you to 10 by showing you, how things happen in 10. But at the same time, 10 is there are certain things in 10 which are very difficult to do, like web service testing, and that has become extremely easier with QTP 12. So we will be covering some advanced topics like that with QTP 12. So I will be showing you as how to do API testing, application programming interface testing. Now, when I talk about these terms, for some of you, could be like, a little bit challenging and overwhelming because you are a manual tester, and all of a sudden I am throwing out these terms at you like API and stuff like that, and you might not be knowing what it is. So, no worries. Please do not be concerned about when I talk about these things on day one, because there will not be a single topic that I would not explain in detail. I would take you to such an extent that you would not only learn it, but you are almost as close as you can to teach about that subject, meaning that you would have so much of exposure. I would try and explain you through 10 different ways that it goes straight into your head, and then you would be able to, deal with any of these situations wherein, let's say, if you have been asked to test APIs, right, or web services. So again, in web services, there are different web services. There is something called XML-based web services. Those deal with something called SOAP, as in Simple Object Access Protocol. So we will be dealing with that. I'll be showing you. And then there is something called RESTful services, right? These are JSON, right? JavaScript object notation. So we will be dealing with that as well. Now, you are thinking right now, boy, this seems like an advanced course because I am here to learn about automation, and then he's talking about these terms and they're not making any sense to me. Absolutely. Today being day one, they will not make sense to you on day one. So just bear with me. Just hear the terms. Just try and understand. Today I will lay out the plot. I will make sure that you understand as what you are getting into. And it is my promise, it is 100% guaranteed that whatever I am going to do, you will learn it. How? I am guaranteeing you that. The reason for that is we have something called our labs, meaning that you have to complete your assignments. We will give you assignments, and there are going to be 8 assignments. These assignments are based on scenarios that we will be dealing with, that if you were working as an automated tester, you will be asked to do certain things. And those scenarios I will try to bring in through my lab as a part of the assignments. I will explain it to you, and I will ask you to complete those assignments. And if you complete those assignments, each assignment might take on an average like 2 hours for you to complete, on an average, right? I mean, some might do it like a little faster, some might take a little more than 2 hours, but on an average it takes about 2 hours for you to complete that. So there are going to be 8 assignments. So if I make sure that I bring in all such scenarios like that, API testing, XML-based SOAP, web service testing, RESTful JSON web service testing. Now, if you do all that with your hands on as a part of the assignments, as a part of the lab, then that is it. Exactly. That's exactly what is needed in real life. Because when you go to work, this is basically you will be asked to do. So, and the way we're going to be handling this is I will be showing you some real life applications, meaning something that Google is using, something that Twitter is using, something Amazon is using, something very similar to that, so that there is no fear when you go to work. There's no fear because you would have done that as a part of your assignments. So it is extremely important that you complete those 8 assignments, and it is not only going to be helping you while you're at work, but this will also deal with majority of the interview questions you will come across. Of course, fast forward 4 weeks, the intent here is for you to get a job, and the way you're going to be getting a job is when you prepare a good resume. So make sure that we will help you in preparing your resume. And once your resume is floating out, once you receive a phone call, the interview is set. So let's fast forward ourselves to that scenario right now. So you're sitting across the table. They would be asking you questions. One of the most probable question that is expected in any interview is when they look at your resume, they're going to be asking you, well, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your previous projects? What did you do in your previous project? Well, these 8 assignments, my friend, This 8 assignments are going to help you immensely to answer that question. I mean, you know, it would not be fair for me to discuss those things right here, right now. But as we move along in this course, we will be discussing about all those interview questions that you could expect, and that I will give it to you as an hands-on through these labs, through these assignments. All right? Okay. So the amount of topics that we're going to be covering are overwhelming, not too many, right? So this is my question to you, or this is my concern that I have do you have time in the next 30 days? Because that's what it takes, 4 weeks to complete this course. Do you have time to invest into this course? If you think that you have, and I mean, that was an open question, I should have sort of like given you a certain figure. So here is, so let's say if you have an hour a day. If you have an hour a day, if you could, let's say, put in 30 hours in a month. If you can put in 30 hours in a month, I can almost guarantee you that you would have a job, you know, fast forward like 4 or 5 weeks, right? Now, how am I guaranteeing you that? How can I even guarantee you that? I can guarantee you based on 2 things, right? Okay, if you go to dice.com, right, and do a search, right? Do a search on any, let's say, we'll go with QTP, right? QTP tester, right? Okay. Now, believe it or not, there are huge openings out there, right? For QTP, not just for QTP, for basically for testers, right? But the catch is, these days they are looking for automation. So whether it is QTP, whether it is Selenium, whether it is SOAP UI, whether it is, you know, whatever, Ruby, Cucumber. Now, whatever we are offering, right, is based on what is going on in the industry. So we don't offer you something just for the sake of, like, you know, doing that course, right? We are offering these things only because there are huge opportunities in the industry right now, right? They are looking for people with good exposure to a particular tool. Let that be Selenium or QTP or Ruby Cucumber, or, you know, Ruby Cucumber is not a tool, but it's basically the scripting. So here, as a QTP, it doesn't matter what part of the country you're living in, and if you do a little research from New York to DC to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to New Jersey to any part of the world, right? I mean, let's focus on United States right now. There are openings. There are openings. Now, here, they might be saying so many things in here, right? They might be saying so many things. I know, because we have trained a little over 9,000 students in the past, like little over 3 years, 4 years. We have trained about 9,000 students, and most of them, they get jobs, and I am, you know, in touch with most of the students. They come tell me, you know, how these courses, they are helping them, and we try to do more. Even though they ask you so many things in here, in the interview, they pretty much decide whether they would like to go with you or not in the first 10-15 minutes. That's basically what is needed. First 10 minutes, you got to nail it in the first 10 minutes. So how are you going to do it? Can you do it, right? Number one. And how are you going to do it? Can you do it? The answer is yes, because we will definitely going to help you with every possibility, you know, that we can utilize to help you towards, you know, getting that job, right? Every possible scenario I will try to cover. Okay. Now, what is the easier way to get into it? The easier way to get into it is if you find yourself completing those 8 labs. If you complete those 8 labs, I can guarantee you that yes, you know, it will happen 90%, 95% of the time. It will happen, right? Now, why I'm not promising 100%? Because you know, sometimes you don't know who you're going to get on the other side of the table, because you know, without getting into the details, I mean, a lot of or some other factors also play into it, other than, you know, just being you know, good in the interview. So they're also going to be looking into you know, the salary. They're also going to be looking into like what kind of previous experience you have, you know, whether it is relating to what they are looking for. So many things, right? But majority of the times we find that people are understanding these things, and if they understand, if they do the assignments, they are basically getting those positions. So 2 hours it takes for you to complete an assignment. There are 8 assignments, so total 8 times 2 is about 16 hours. So let's say 15 hours is what you will be working on the assignments. The other 15 hours you have to you know, do some practice and stuff like that. All right, so that's 30 hours that I asked for. And then we have these classes, which is 16 hours of classes, 2 hours each session. There are 8 sessions, so 16 hours. So all in all, you're going to get like 40 to 60 hours of serious investment of your time. So if you can agree to put in that time, I can almost guarantee you that things will happen. All right. Okay. Now, how are we going to get started? Number one, you have to have the environment. What do you mean by the environment? Meaning that you have to have the tool installed on your machine. Apart from the tool, you also have to have certain other things that you need to be installed. So let's start with the tool itself. So QTP, it's an HP Hewlett Packard's tool. It was originally, you know, it was a part of another company, Mercury Interactive, but then they got bought out by HP, so HP owns it. So since HP bought it, they have put in some serious investment of their money into it and trying to make it a better tool. And today it's much better than what it was like a few years ago. So you have to have QTP installed on your machine. So how can you have QTP installed on your machine? Which version should you start with, and stuff like that is what we're going to be discussing next. Where do you get the software from? So let's start off with version 10. The only reason is, you know, if you have to deal with an older version of QTP at work, you can't say that I don't know, so it is better to know than not know. So that's why we are dealing with QTP 10. And unfortunately, QTP 10 will not expire because when you install the evaluation version of it, you know, every 15 days you can reinstall it, and that's all legal. You can just, as long as it says that it's a evaluation copy, you're fine. HP sort of like you know, in other words, allow it to happen because of the fact that you know, they offer it as an evaluation copy that can be reinstalled. Unlike these newer versions. Newer versions, once you install it, newer version starts from 11 to 12 with 11.5 in between. So once you install them, they run for 30 days. And after 30 days, they get expired, and then nothing you do can make it reinstall it again on that machine. So you got to format the drive and do that, but who in the world is going to do that? So there are a couple of ways to make it happen. Like there is something called VMware. So when the time is right, I'm going to be talking about you know, the VirtualBox, VMware, and you know, virtual machines and stuff like that. I will explain you. I'll talk to you about that. For now, you know, let me focus on you know, where to download it from, what different versions we have, and how to get started. So if you are already a registered student, we have shared with you the software, the link to download, right? We have shared with you the link to download QTP version 10 and also the other version, which is 11 up to 12. I have shared with you the link of that. If you are already a paid member and if you have not received that link, please write back to us at sales@trainingrite.com, and we will make sure that we will send you that link to download the software. Okay. Now, once you download the software, you have to go through the installation process, and here is the documentation for that. Again, shared with folks who are registered members. We have already shared that with you, but give me a second to show it to you where it is. Hang on for a second. Okay, you won't see it, but I have a lot of boxes on my screen because we have to see what's going on. So if you have posted any questions and stuff like that, so I need to see that. Okay, so I am the admin of TrainingRite. So we offer many courses. So here are the different courses that we offer. For QTP, we have already shared with you the QTP 10 software. This link we have shared with you. So you should be able to download it. This is about close to 1.6 or 1.7 gigabytes. So try and download it sort of like late in the evening so that you have enough bandwidth to download it faster, and then you should be able to install it. Now the question is, how do you go through the installation? And here is the documentation again we have saved or shared with you. QTP 10 software, installing QTP on Windows 7, how to do that, must read before QTP installation. So all of this is shared with you. Now, just to give you an idea, here is this is the documentation as how to install it. After you install, there are certain things that you got to do. So we talked about that in this document. So you should be receiving that document if you already don't have it. If you don't have it, please make sure that you let us know, and then we will share it. We're more than happy to share it with you one more time, right? So that's that. And then we'll also be sharing with you. Sorry about that. We'll also be sharing with you the QTP softwares, the other softwares, right? So hang on, which is so this is the QTP 11, and this is the QTP 11.5, right? And also 12, it's on a different server, so I will share with you the 12 as well. So you could download all of these softwares and then you could install them one by one. I don't want you to install all at the same time. In fact, I don't think it is any beneficial if you install 11, 11.5, 12 at the same time. So I would say you could gradually go this way. That way that you would know that you can start with 11 first, and then once it expires after 30 days, you could install 11.5, let it run for another 30 days, and then you could install 12, and that's going to run for another 30 days. Right here you have 90 days that you could practice, and QTP 10, this can be you can keep installing it as long as you want. All right, so that but then again, not today, but in the upcoming classes I will show you as how to set up the virtual box and stuff like that. So we will be dealing with it. Okay, now coming back to the topics that we will be covering as a part of this course. Now, I do not want to go through any PowerPoint slides because I don't believe in reading stuff off the PowerPoint. So I will do everything hands-on, meaning that everything that I am going to be doing is going to help you tremendously, because it's all going to be hands-on. Only on day one I will be talking a little bit, but other than this, it's going to be, I would say the course is like 98% hands-on. We will be doing a lot of stuff hands-on. Okay, now what are we going to be covering? So let us talk a little bit about what we're going to be covering. Now, the whole idea, the purpose, the intent of automation is to do the testing, right? Okay, testing of what? Well, you are all manual testers, right? So you want to test the applications. Now, the business applications that you want to test, they come in many forms, right? So there is, long time back, there were mainframe applications, right? And then they were client-server applications, and then We have web applications, right? Websites or web applications, right? And then we also have a new breed of application. These are, let's say, mobile applications, right? Let me tell you that we will not be doing mainframe applications, and we will not be doing mobile applications. You are like, ouch! How come you're not doing mobile applications? That is exactly what is needed for today's time, right? You should be covering mobile applications. Well, mainframe, I am not covering that only because if I put a number probably today, it is less than 2 digits, meaning that not even like 10% of the applications out there are mainframe applications as far as the testing is concerned. So something which is not popular, something which is like waning, something which is like almost dying, if not dead, I don't want to touch it. And so that's the reason, because there's not much of a market for that, so we are not doing that. Let's come back to client server. Client server, there are still applications, a good amount of applications out there that are client server applications, and you need to know as how to test them. Now, I will be spending very limited time on the client server application, so only so that you could talk in the interview that, yeah, you have an exposure to client server applications. I will be covering that portion of it, and it all depends like where we are in this course, because I intend to cover a lot of stuff in this course. So if I cannot cover it as a live session, I will give you the videos of it. I will give you the videos of the client server testing. I'll give you that. So some of you might have already seen that because we already shared it. So you could see that. So you will be learning how to do client server testing. Okay, now the main focus is web applications, right? We will be testing web applications, and in web applications there is something called a GUI testing that we will be doing, which is the main part of it. I would say that about 85% of the course is about the GUI testing, but we'll also be doing API testing, right? Which is the web service testing. Web service testing, again, is very important when it comes to UFT. There are a lot of jobs today wherein they are asking you to do API testing using UFT, which is the web service testing. So again, I will be covering a good amount of time on that as well, right? Now, if you seriously ask me, I would like to keep it like a 60% of that and 40% of that, but what I'm going to do is some of the things that I intend to cover through the UFT, only because the content is so much that because of our limited time, we might not be able to cover everything through the live session. So I will cover all the main topics, and the rest of them I will again leave it through the videos. With the most important thing is your labs, right? So you have to complete the labs. Now, notice that I'm trying to stress a little bit on these labs. The reason is when you do with your own hands, you will understand more. You will have more idea of what it is. And now, while doing labs, you'll have questions, right? Of course, you'll have questions while doing the labs, right? Okay, so you and I, we meet here, right, on what? On Saturdays and Sundays, right? Let's say from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when we meet on Saturdays and Sundays, right? So let's say that's what it is. Now, let's say on a Wednesday evening at 4 p.m. Let's say you have a question. You have a question and you want to find out like how to do it. I will see you only here, right? You could only ask me questions here while we are in the session. How about when you have 4 p.m.? Now you would say that, oh, I can call you. Well, I would love to hear your voice, but as I said, we have little over 9,000 plus students. If every student wants to call us and tell us their problems, and however we love you, but still it's humanly impossible to deal with 9,000 students asking for help. Even if one person calls a day, your would be like 9,000 day your turn would come. So we have come with a very, very good innovative solution, and that is ask as many questions as you want, right? And we'll give you access to our forums. So you will be going to our forums and you'll be asking those questions. So if I have, if you are already a member, then you know that we have already shared with you. If not, then we will be sharing with you. So here, again, I being the admin, I'm seeing all of these groups. You will be seeing the QTP support group. So in the QTP support group, you could be asking your questions here. So let's say there is a question about, there is a topic called descriptive programming, right? Now, so if we go into descriptive programming, like the students in the past, they had so many questions. While doing the assignment on day 4, I have a trouble, so that's a question, right? So here is some code, and then they have, they are trying to do this, and they ask for some help, and so she had posted the, so some people, they go in there and then they give the solution. So she says, okay, thank you for your solution, and stuff like that. So you post your questions, here, right? And we will try to help you out as much as we can, right? So here is like another question somebody had posted, and there is some code. Now when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, I cannot handle this. This seems to be like some programming and I know nothing about it. Well, that is exactly the reason you are here. If you knew these things, why would you be here, right? So now let's see how you would be able to understand all of what is down here, right? And that is the reason you and I, we will meeting for 8 times, and whatever I could do, I would do, and the rest you would see it here. So basically, we will be giving you access to so many videos. Hang on for a second. Okay, so if you see here, we have been doing a lot of courses. As you can see, we do C#, Coded UI, ASP.NET, we do API testing, we do JMeter, we do LoadRunner, we do Oracle, we do QA, we do QTP. So let's go to some QTP. Let's say, I don't know, maybe this batch, right? Okay, so as you can see, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8, right? So there will be 8 classes. So we will be sharing with you, all these videos and some of the videos from the previous classes, right? So each video, this is the duration of the video, is going to be around 2 hours. So that's the 2 hour. This is a little less, but that's like almost 2 hours. That's almost 2 hours. So we will be sharing with you all these videos, and you will be watching all of these videos. And then on top of that, we'll also be sharing with you some of the videos that we call it as a must-watch videos. So if I take you to here, QTP registered student must-watch videos, and here. There are some videos that we want you to go ahead and then watch at your leisure time. Let's say UFT 11.5 detailed introduction, right? What is UFT and stuff like that? You should be looking into that, right? And how to install something, installation video of QTP 11.5, how to install that. This short video shows you how to install 11.5. So if you ever have a trouble doing that, this will show you. And then if you go further down, so this should be whenever you have free time, you could just go and then watch some of the things like how do we do database testing from here. Not that these topics will not be covered during the main session, but here we spend some more time in here, step by step. It's like detail, step by step, showing you as how to do that. So now, how to install QTP 10? This is a video that shows you how to install QTP 10, right? So come here, watch this video. This tells you everything as how to do that. All right. Again, this is all for registered students. So if you are still debating, then you see what we will be offering you. We will be showing you these things, sharing with you rather all of these things. Now, since we have been offering it for quite some time, so we will give you some previous batch videos as well. That way, before you come to the class, you can watch those videos and have an idea of how to do a certain thing. All right. Now, coming back to the topic of testing. So you, as a manual tester, you are getting into automation, so you have to test applications. The applications that you would be testing, as I said, could be mainframe applications, client server, web, or mobile applications. And I told you the reason I'm not covering mainframe, and I'll be covering client server and web. Now you would say, why not mobile applications? That's basically what it is. Now I have to tell you, mobile apps, right, is a course by itself. So if you see, if you go here and if you look into our courses, we have mobile automated testing. There is so much of stuff in here that you have to know. So much of stuff in here that it will not do justice for me to just take that and cover it here. It will not do justice. I mean, this itself, the whole thing itself would take about like 16 hours. So, you know, I cannot be doing client server, web, mobile, everything in 16 hours. It's just impossible. You cannot do that. So, and it is not fair to just touch a topic and not being able to, you know, do justice to that, you know, subject. So that is why I totally not touch it. If you are seriously interested about it, then you could, you know, come and take that mobile apps testing course, and you will get to know a lot of stuff in there. Okay. Now, with that said, let's see if you have any questions, and let me take your questions before I get started as far as today's class is concerned. All right, so let me see. Yeah, feel free to, if you want to talk to me, I will unmute you, and then you could talk to me. Otherwise, I'll just read your questions, and I will answer your questions from what you have said. And I'm doing it not like waiting till the end of the session, because I see some questions piling up here. So let me take those questions. And okay, one of the question here is, will what you are going to show us, will that be enough in covering in us getting a job? Good question. The answer to that is, look, there is no end to learning. You could keep learning as long as you take your last breath. Right? I mean, there's no end to learning. You could keep learning. But at some point, you have to draw a line and say that, you know what, I think I know enough that I could go for an interview. And our course is basically that point wherein it will instill a good amount of confidence in you, and not just the amount of confidence that you want, but what the industry is looking for. Because when you're looking for a job, they want you to do certain things. They expect you to do certain things, and that's the interview is all about. They'll be asking you, have you created a framework? Have you worked on a framework? You know, do you have exposure to descriptive programming? How good you think you are in VB scripting? Well, these are, you know, sort of like the interview questions. So you will be able to answer confidently, not from reading a book, right? This is not a course where we want you to read a book. In fact, there's no book at all. There's no book. Everything is hands-on. Everything is hands-on. Of course, given the fact that I am sharing with you some of the documentation here, if you see here, automation test plan, what it is, and how to connect to SQL Server from QTP, what is a file system object, and object spy, how do you deal with that, and some topics like, you know, how to look into the properties of an object, what are user-defined functions, what is a framework, you know, but that's okay even if you don't look at that. Why? Because we'll be dealing everything in our you know, classes, in our sessions, and I will be asking you to do those things as a part of the assignment. Okay, so give me a second. Let me just have a sip of water. All right. Sorry about that. That's what happens if you continuously talk for an hour. Okay, so reading that question, I hope I did answer, because we will be giving you enough that you would be able to, handle the interviews. And if you're working on a project, you would be able to do almost everything that they can possibly ask you to do, because you have the videos for reference for like a year. And even after 1 year, if you think that, can you please extend it for, some more time, we will look into your logs and we'll look into your reports. If you have watched it a reasonable amount of time, then it's okay. We will extend it free of cost. But if you have watched it, quite extensively, then we might ask for a minimum, amount of fee that we have to pay the hosting service provider because of the use of the bandwidth. So the videos are there for your reference. These classes are going on. At any time, if you want to repeat the class, we will be looking into the situation like, why do you want to repeat? And then based on that, we will handle case by case. Worst case scenario, anybody that have taken a course with us, let's say in the year 2011, and then they want to repeat this course, we would ask them to pay a minimum fee of $99 to take this class compared to $399. The reason for that is in 2011, there was no UFT 12. Right, so in this course we are covering UFT 12, so you are just getting it for like 99 bucks. So that's a good thing. Rather than asking you to pay the whole fee again, we respect the fact that you were our student in 2011, so we give it to you only for $99. So you can always upgrade your knowledge. Okay, there's another question here, and that is this. I'm sorry, I giggled there, but this question, if I was paid a penny answering this question, I would have made a lot of money in the past 3-4 years, because every second phone call or email or chat we get is, I don't know programming, what do you think, can I handle this course? Well, a very valid question, very, very valid question. Again, I have heard that many a times in the past. The answer to that is, look, automation is all about programming. Automation means that you have to know some scripting. Okay, so here is the deal. I am, anything that I'm showing you here, it's no exaggeration. It's exactly, what it is. So, look, when it comes to any tool, any automation tool, doesn't matter if it is Selenium, right? Doesn't matter if it is UFT or QTP, however you want to call it. Or it doesn't matter, let's say, if it is SOAP UI, or it is, let's say, if you're using, doing Ruby Cucumber, if you're using Load Runner, if you're doing JMeter, if you're doing coded UI, and MTM. Now, all of these things, right? This needs you to have, this is the programming language, right? So this needs you to have knowledge of Java. QTP, this needs you to have knowledge of VBScript. This SOAP UI, this needs you to have knowledge of something called Groovy. And this Ruby Cucumber basically needs you to have a knowledge of Ruby as a programming language. Load Runner, you can have a knowledge of C programming language. JMeter, again, it can be anything, any programming language. You could use, let's say, C there. You could also be using VBScript there. You could be using anything in there. In JMeter course that we have, I show you extensively all of the languages I show you, right? But then I will show you some bean scripting, right? Bean scripting. shell scripting. That's what I show you as a part of JMeter, and I show you the rest as well. Here, you need to know a language like C#.NET or VB.NET, right? So these are programming languages, right? So you depending on what tool you are using, you need to know all of these languages. Okay, here is the deal. You are walking in on day one, right? You are a, let's say, manual tester, right? And as a matter of fact, you are doing the transition from manual tester to automated tester. So to do this transition, you have to know, there is no escape. You have to know a programming language. Because if you don't know a programming language, the only way that you could become a automated tester is doing a feature called record and run or record and play, right? Record and play is only 5%. So just think about it as if like it's a waste. I mean, I shouldn't be saying a waste of time, but this is not automation. 95% of automation is you have to know programming. Now, the big question is you don't know any programming. You know zero programming right now. How can you learn programming in 4 weeks? How can you do that? Well, here is my answer and my candid answer, blunt answer. Believe it or not, no exaggeration, blunt answer. Well, no pain, no gain, right? So you have to eventually go through some painful process, and it is not going to be painful to the point that you will give up. It is a sort of like a sweet pain. Now you would say, what the heck is a sweet pain? Right? I mean, I would say, I don't know. I mean, if you go to gym, right? I mean, you run there, you run on that treadmill, like you go crazy, you lift weights and all that. You are sore. It's painful. It is hurting you. But guess what? You like to go there again next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. And eventually after a week or 10 days or maybe a month, you start to see your body getting toned. You like it. Not only you like it, everybody around you like it. They start giving you that, another look, I guess, right? So now you're turning their heads. So basically, going through that pain is helpful because it is giving you some results. Same is the deal here. Going through that pain of programming is going to make you an automated tester. Why? Because you as a manual tester, and please, no offense, right? I mean, I'm not trying to offend you. Either your career is coming to an end, or you're finding it extremely difficult to survive in this market because things are changing. Things are changing, and they're looking for automation these days. So if you don't do automation now, very soon you'll find yourself being challenged, and it is going to be a little late at that time, because the more you delay, the more and more people are getting into automation, and you will find difficulty in getting into it once it gets to a point of saturation. So run and do it today. I mean, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to tempt you to do it, but it's some fact of life. I mean, it's today, that's what you got to do, right? Okay, manual testers probably are making what? Maybe around like $32 on an average, $32. And if you are very lucky, probably around like close to $40 per hour. That's what you're making today. Somewhere, that's the range, right? If you're not in that range, then probably you're living in Montana. Nothing against Montana, but what's happening in Montana, right? What's happening in South Dakota or North Dakota? Nothing is happening there, right? So, I mean, they might not give you much money, but if you're living in happening places like New York and Connecticut or New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, right? I mean, forgive me for not including your city, but happening places like that, Chicago, Dallas, or if you're in California, any part of California, you could be very easily making that kind of money for a manual tester. You know it very well, right? Now, automation is, at least to begin with, 30% more, right? So what is 30% more of? So somewhere, I mean, you do the math, so it is going to be somewhere around like, let's say $40 to let's say about $60, and I'm being per hour, that is. So I'm being very conservative right now, right, with these numbers, right? Now, you're not going to start off with $60 an hour after you finish this course, right? That is not going to happen immediately after you finish this course, right? So, surprise, surprise. But someday, right, within what? Within a year. Within a year, right, you will come pretty close to that if you're not already there. Right? Now, again, these numbers, you know, depends on so many other factors, right? Location is one of them. Your prior experience is another reason, and what part or how much of you know, the stuff you know is also you know, something which is very important. So let's discuss about how difficult it is for you to learn programming, and how can we help you. When it comes to programming, any language, doesn't matter, right? I challenge you 100%, I challenge you, right? Now, when we are learning as a tester, it is very different from a programmer's perspective. Programmer learn programming differently, and tester learns it differently, right? How differently? They have to go too much in depth, right? Because that's their bread and butter. Programming is their, you know, bread and butter. For us testers, right, you have to know enough of it so that you could do what? You could do your daily task of writing automation scripts. You have to write automation scripts, right? So how much of stuff do you need to know to write automation scripts? Okay, this is what it is. And trust me on this one. I'm not trying to exaggerate. I'm not trying to, you know, say things that are not meaningful in here. As a tester, right, in this course, particularly in QTP, right, you will be learning about VB script, right? Visual Basic Programming Script. That's what you would be learning. Okay, so in there are about, trust me, there are 5 things that you need to know to begin with, right? 1, you need to know about variables. What are variables? What is a variable? What is a variable? How do you create them, right? How do you populate a variable? Meaning that assign what? Assign data to a variable, right? Assign data to a variable. How do you assign data to it? And then how do you use it in your script, right? Okay, that's one topic. And if I tell you the time it takes for you to learn about it, maximum 15 minutes. Maximum. And these 15 minutes, once you focus and learn about variables, you will learn it forever in your life. Forever in your life. Now, you would say that there's nothing forever in our life. I'll tell you, how about driving? Do you forget driving? Even if you don't drive, you know, let's say if you don't drive for 5 years, the first time you're driving after that gap, probably like the first 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, you are a little bit, you know, rusty. But then after that, it's like, because you know everything about driving in terms of like, there is a steering. That's the steering, right? There's a brake. There is an accelerator. There are rules. Red means stop. Green means go, right? I mean, it's been since the beginning of times, right? That's how it is. So it is going to be like that. All of a sudden, all over the world, they're not going to change like, okay, red means go and green means stop, right? It's not going to happen. Would not, because that's a standard, right? And that's what I will be showing you about variables when it comes to like how to create them. That will become the standard for any language now. Whether you're learning VB script, whether you down the road would be doing something with Java, whether you're doing with C#.NET, whether Ruby, whether Groovy, whatever. Variables, number 1, right? Number 2, then you have to know something about arrays, right? What are arrays? Again, now, when you learn about what are arrays, right? Again, think about how I should create an array, how I should populate an array, and how I should use it in my script. That's what you have to remember about, right? Okay, number 3, you have to know about, excuse me, you have to know about functions, right? Again, these three things goes with the function as well. What is a function? How do you create a function, right? How do you create a function? It's not like how do you populate a function? How do you pass data to a function, right? Passing a data to a function is using something called parameters, right? So what are parameters? How do you create? Now, again, you might feel like, I don't know, maybe I got to think about it. Maybe this is something little bit challenging to me right now because, again, I don't know if I am up to this. Well, you got to give it a shot. You got to give it a shot. Nothing, you know, how would you make a decision about something without even trying it? You try it at least once to find out what it is, right? So, and you know the benefits out of it, right? So we will be looking into functions, how to create them, and how to pass parameters to a function, and what's the difference between a function and a subroutine and stuff like that. So that's another thing that we'll be looking into, right? So if I have to put a time for the arrays, I would say that give it like 30 minutes to an hour, 1 hour, right? 1 hour to 30 minutes to 1 hour, right? For arrays. For functions, probably like maximum maybe like 2 hours, right? And again, I'm giving you exact facts of it. Number 4, you have to know about conditional logic, right? What is conditional logic? What do you mean by conditional logic? Conditional logic is if something is I'm just yeah, I'll answer your questions. I have read your questions. I'll answer your questions in a minute. So coming to conditional logic, well, the conditional logic is, let's say if, right, if something is, if something is, right, if some statement, if something is true, whatever you say here, let's say the number of rows, if the number of rows is greater than 0, if the number of rows is greater than 0, that means that there are some rows, right? So this is some condition. Then what you do something, right? And you say, and if. Do something what? Maybe you call a function, right? So now think about it. This is some programming. If the number of rows, this is some variable. This is some variable. If number of rows is greater than 0, some value, then you have to call a function. Now, when I say these things, again, you are like, yeah, it is making sense. It is making sense, but I need to see how it is done, and then I will, get some confidence about it. Then I would say that exactly that's what I need from you. Just wait for the class to happen. Try and understand, follow everything that I'm going to teach. It is no rocket science. A lot of people before you have done this, and many after you will be doing it. So it is the big thing that I want to instill in your head right now. It's doable. It's doable, and only because I've been teaching for past 18 years in different institutions, colleges, universities. So I know how it is done. That I can tell you. I will not waste your time, and I'll come up with creative ways to make it happen so that you can understand it. Bottom line is only because, if you keep doing something for a long period of time, that means that you know how to do it. And with that, I can tell you, I can teach you in a way that it'll go into your head, and then you will understand these things. Okay, that was number 4. We said 5. So there is something else that you need to know, that is about loops. If you have to do it again and again for n number of times, then you have to do it as a loop. There is something called a for loop. There is something called while loop or do while loop, right? So we'll be looking into all of that. Here is a simple suggestion that I would like to make. I understand the fact that anytime you do something for the first time, it is going to be a little bit, challenging and a little bit, difficult. But if you keep doing it again and again, things will become easy. All right. All right, so sorry about that. So these things, the variables, arrays, functions, conditional logic with the if statements and loops and all that is basically what we will be covering as a part of this whole course. And you will notice that it is doable. It is easy for you to understand and then do it. Okay, let me pause here for a second and take some of the questions that are here before I take you into automation testing. Okay. Any student who is coming back, and if there is a gap, a long gap, then that needs to be considered case by case, right? So we got to look into that. We'll be looking into it. So number 2 here is when we are installing. Per HP site, they are not providing any support for HP 10 and 11. Yeah, support. You don't. I mean, a question here is they don't provide support for HP 10 and 11. Any company, they will move on with the newer version, and that is the marketing strategy for them to make you buy the new one. Right, new version. Because if they say that they are no longer supporting it, that means that companies will get scared and then they will go with the newer version. So I don't blame HP for not supporting 10 or 11, but that's how it is done. I mean, if Microsoft keeps supporting XP all their lives, many of these corporations will never move away from it because it's doing its job. So what they want to do is they want to say that they are not supporting. So, but there are thousands of installations out there still using XP, and they will continue to use XP for a few more years, and then they might move on to the latest version at that time. So you are not going to HP for any support. So I don't know how 10 and 11 support will matter you, but that's what it is. So there are a lot of companies still using QTP, even though it is not supported. Yes, that is true. They are using QTP 10. And the other thing is, believe it or not, and I'm not saying this, I have to be careful in what I'm saying, but some people, they claim on their resume that they have 6 years of experience, 5 years of experience. Now, if they have not seen QTP 10, and if they claim 5-6 years of experience, and if we just do UFT 12, they would have no idea of what QTP 10 is, right? So you would be setting yourself up, if you don't know what QTP 10 is. This exercise might help those of you folks as well. Again, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to work on QTP 10 or QTP 12. In this course, we will be covering both. So we will be showing you how to do both. Now, you cannot clean or clear the registry and reinstall QTP 11 or 11.5 or 12. You cannot do that. For QTP 10, there are some softwares on the internet that will help you to wipe off the registries clean and then reinstall it as an evaluation copy for another few days, right? Another 15 days, I guess, that you could do it. And then you can keep doing it as long as you don't get tired or you see a need for you to do it. As long as it says that it's an evaluation copy, you're good to go. Now, as far as the version 12 is concerned, you can install it only once and it gets expired after 30 days. So I would delay the start of the version 12 till we reach day 4. So day 1, day 2, day 3, I will do it with with QTP version 10. Starting from day 4 onwards, I will get into UFT 12, and I will show you UFT 12. Now, for those of you folks who are basically in need for you to learn this sooner, you have to go and you have to watch the videos, because we'll be sharing with you the videos, and then you could watch those videos and you could learn it tomorrow itself, right? Because version 12 will also be shared with you, so you could learn it from the videos. But if you have to watch me doing it in the class, you will find me doing UFT 12 on day 4. Day 1, day 2, day 3, it's going to be QTP 10. All right. Okay. With that said, let's do some automation testing right now. Okay. Now, if you go back here, I did mention in here that QTP is a license-based tool, right? Meaning that you have to pay to get this tool. So if you go to HP to download it, you might not find any links for QTP 10. You will not find any links for QTP 10 anywhere. I mean, if you keep looking it on the internet, I don't know, if you feel lucky, you might find a link to download QTP 10. So we have it, as I showed it to you. We will share it with you, and you could download it on your machine. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and then show you that I have downloaded that software and I have installed it. This is QTP version 10, right? I have installed it. So how are we going to do the testing with it? Okay. Now, in your case, if you download and install it, one thing that you have to worry about is whenever you are going to test a browser-based application, you're basically testing an application, correct? The application is a web application, so web application is going to be browser-based, meaning the application which you are going to test will be running in a browser. So let's say this is your computer and you have a browser. The browser has to be Internet Explorer. That's the Internet Explorer browser, right? And we are talking about testing using QTP. QTP what? If you are testing with version QTP 10, QTP version 10. Now QTP version 10 cannot test Internet Explorer, which is Internet Explorer has version number, let's say 12, right? Or Internet Explorer even version 11. It is very iffy. QTP 10 is very iffy with 10. What QTP 10 can guarantee is IE9, IE8. Now, you would say that who in the world is using IE8 right now, right? People have moved on. They have moved on to 12. They have moved on to 11. They have moved on to 10, right? Okay. I do understand that they have moved on, right? So what we will be doing is we will be spending our time to learn the tricks of QTP 10 as how QTP 10 can be taught, can be tamed, right? To do what? To do the testing on these different browsers. So I'm going to be showing you some tricks, right? Starting next week, I'll show you some tricks, and those tricks are based on not only the versions here, but also they are also based on whether your machine is a 32-bit machine or a 64-bit machine, because the browsers also are 32-bit and 64-bit. So there are certain tricks that will make a 64-bit browser convert it into a 32-bit browser and stuff like that. So I'm going to be showing you as how to do that. So right now, QTP 10 will do it for today, day 2 and day 3, and then QTP or UFT 12 from day 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. Okay. So that's the agenda. Okay. Now, QTP 10 needs to be installed, so you need to download. Right now, let's say you have an operating system. You have a newer machine, and you have an operating system, Windows 8.1, right? If you have Windows 8.1, you are a little bit unlucky, because QTP 10 is having issues working on Windows 8.1, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done in order to make it compatible. So here is a solution. The solution is, I will offer you only for QTP 10. I will offer you our labs. I will offer you our lab. You can get into our lab, and then you could test on QTP 10. You don't even have to install it on your machine. Okay. Again, if there are, let's say, a dozen people, everyone wants to get into our labs and do the labs at the same time, it cannot handle it. So I will give you access to our labs, our environment, right? So meaning that you can run on our machines, you can run your QTP test on our machines and all that. So you have to schedule. You have to work with us. We will allow you the slots. We'll allow you these slots to practice the timings, right? So it'll be like an 1.5 hour, right, per day, or we can extend it up to 2 hours per day. So you have 2 hours every day you could practice on our machine, or else you could install QTP 10 on your own machine, right? So if you're having difficulty, if you want to do that, and you could connect to it. Now we need a couple of softwares for you to do that. So let me quickly walk you through. What you do is you go to here, you go to teamviewer.com. You go to teamviewer.com, and after you go to teamviewer.com, you can download this, right? See here, TeamViewer, you can download. Why you can download? Because you can connect to our labs, and I will show you as how to do that. So you will download. Once you download this TeamViewer, you can open it. You can open it and you can run it. So I'm installing TeamViewer on, let's say this is you. You have to go to TeamViewer and you have to install it. After you install, this is basically some of the questions. So you can even do like a permanent install, or you can do it for a one-time only, right? So if you go with run only one time, right now I'll just do run only one time, right? And let's say I'll do it for personal use, right, and non-commercial, and run it. So it is going to install it on your machine. So once it installs it on your machine, basically what happens is it is going to open up. Here is the window, and we will give you some numbers, right? So like let's say this is the number that we will give it to you, right? So partner ID, we will give it to you, and we'll give you the timing, and we'll give you the number. So let's say this number you have to type. So you type that 440-234 and 968, and you say connect to partner, right? And when you do that, this window, password window, will pop up. Right now, I will give you some password. So this is the password, let's say you type. And what will happen? Notice that it is going to go and get connected to my machine, so my server. So hang on for a second, Let me see if my server is on, up and running. Okay, here it is. So it is trying to connect and see this is the server, and it is starting my QTP. So it started my QTP, right? It started my QTP, and that's what you're seeing. This is the QTP 10. So if you are connecting, this is what would happen. You would connect to our server, and then you would start QTP, and you could see that you could do some testing on that QTP. What testing you want to do? Let's say you want to test an application, right? Now the question is, how do you test an application? Which application do you want, and how do you test an application? Let us go through a test case wherein you have to automate something. So let me take you to a website that I want you to test. For now, I'm just taking you. Okay, so make believe that this is some e-commerce website that you have to test, right? Now let me basically walk you through some of the test case here that you want to test. One of the test case is you want to make sure that when you search on this website, you are able to see whatever you want to see. Okay, so here is the test case that we want to automate. Test case is when you search for a Panasonic TV on the website, and the website address is TrainingRite.net online. When you search for a Panasonic TV, so this Panasonic TV right now, I will keep it in double quote because this can change, right? So the idea here is we are automating the search functionality. I am doing the automation of search functionality. So when you search for a Panasonic TV, this can change. It can be anything. Right now I'm saying Panasonic TV. It can be, let's say, what is this? Canon camera. So it can be, let's say, not Panasonic. It can be, so Canon camera. So it can be anything. Canon camera. On the website, this is the website. You should be able to see the description and the price of it, right? Okay, this is just the search functionality. Then like that, there will be another test case wherein you have to add item to the shopping cart. So that's another test case where you have to add the item to the. I will describe to you how to add the item to the shopping cart. There will be another one, modify. Modify is delete or add more items to the shopping cart. So we want to make sure that that's working too, right? So that's another test case, right? And we will describe in English later on. And then there will be another one like purchasing an item from the shopping cart, right? So purchasing an item, right, is purchasing, meaning we'll be paying by credit card, for an item. Purchasing is paying by a credit card for an item in the shopping cart, in the shopping cart, right? That's one, right? Okay, then shipping the item to an address, right? Okay, so that's another one. So these are some of the test cases that we have to automate. Now, before I automate these test cases, before I even show you as how to do that, I have to manually understand how to do it, right? So let me just show you the search functionality, how I can do it. So in order to do the search functionality, here are my test steps, right? My test steps are, what do I have to do? My first step is open a browser, right? Better if we give the name of the browser, right? IE 10 or whatever, right? In my case, I will just say IE X, right? And we don't know what version it is, so we should be able to open a browser, Internet Explorer browser, right? And do what? Navigate to the URL, right? URL or application under test, AUT, application under test, right? So I want to navigate. I want to navigate to the application under test. Okay, step number 2, once I get there. Okay, manually, how would I do that? So I open a browser. So here is my browser. I open Internet Explorer browser. Okay, now navigate to that. Navigating to that is I have to go here in the address bar and I have to type that. Where is the address bar? First of all, I don't even see an address bar here, right? So right click. Oops, sorry. So menu bar. I don't see an address bar here, right? Okay, for now, I'm just gonna go here. I'll figure it out. It's the settings in here. So TrainingRite.net, I'll go there, and I will click on it. So right here on the top. Probably I was not looking at it. So here we are, and we go to this site. Okay. So step number one was open a browser and navigate to this. So manually I know how to do it, right? In fact, I just did it, so it is a pass. I just did it. It passed. This step passed. Second step is what? When you search for a Canon camera. So I would say enter text to search in this catalog search text box, right? So my test step would be enter text to search inside the catalog search text box and click on go, right? Okay, so can I do that? Manually, can I do that? Then what text I'm searching is Canon camera, right? So I will say that this is the text which I would be. So now, do I know how to do that? Okay, Canon camera, I did that and I clicked on that, right? Okay, I clicked on that. Now you search for the products containing that in the names, and now I don't see anything in here, right? Okay, first of all, enter the text Canon camera inside catalog search bar and click on go, right? I was able to do that. So I would say that this part I was able to do, right? Now, the third step was I should be able to see the description, price, and picture of the Canon camera, right? Okay, now here manually I was not able to to see it, failed. Because this was expected, so this failed. So this manually, these are 3 steps, and at least manually I know. So if manually it fails, that means that I have to take it to the, I raised a bug, raised a defect or a bug, right? And let's say the solution is, the developer said to me, right? The solution developer came back is, you dummy, telling about myself, you dummy tester, just type Canon, right? Don't type camera. I'm just making it up, just doing some funny stuff, right? Okay, so you come in here and I just type Canon, click on that. Lo and behold, this works. So I have the picture, I have the camera, I have the price, and right? So come back in here, and I followed his instruction, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna type the Canon, and I was able to see it, and it passed, right? So you saw that we passed it. Okay, all this is good. This is all manual testing. Good, and we put it into the QC quality center, we put it in Jira, we upload it, right? All good. That's fine. Automation. How do we automate it now? How do we do it? How can we automate this test case? Well, in order to automate the test case, we can use, right? We can use any of these tools. I could use Selenium. I could use QTP. I could, not necessarily SOAP UI, but I could use Ruby Cucumber. I could sort of like use JMeter. I could use coded MTM. To a certain extent, I could also use Load Runner, but these tools, JMeter, and these are more like load testing, right? Performance testing, not for the functional testing. So these are performance testing. The rest of them, they are like functional testing, except SOAP UI, which is more like a web service testing. Okay, so if you want to do it using Selenium, how to do it? Oh, that is, if you were a Selenium guy, you would know it, because I would show it to you. If you come on January 19th, 8:30 to 10:30 p.m., you come and I'll show it to you how it is done through Selenium, right? This is not January 19th, it is not 8:30, this is January 17th, this is 7 p.m., this is 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and this is for QTP. So I should show you using QTP how to do that test. All right? Okay, very good. Now that we know how we are going to do it, so let's do that. Let me just show it to you here. So first things first, excuse me. So in order to do that, you have to go into QTP. So this is QTP open. Right? This is QTP open. First things first, I have to do that in one of the 2 ways. I have to either write a script. Automation testing is done in QTP. Automation testing is done in one of the two ways. I could use a feature called record and run, right? Record and play, right? This feature I could use. Number 2, right? I can create or build or write my script, right? Using language, which language? Java or which one? Which language would I be writing my script in QTP testing? Let me wake you up. That's a question. Did I wake you up? Okay, so Vishal did answer, Fatima did answer, okay, Olga, sorry if I woke you up. I am so sorry for doing that. Anyway, so you're all absolutely correct, right? So we will be using VB script. Now, do you think it is fair right now for me to teach you VB scripting on day 1? The answer is we will do this in the next class, which is day 2. We will start to look into VB scripting. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the recording and how to run it. Okay, easy, very easy. What you have to do is you have to go into QTP and then you have to do the following. You have to say, oh, I want to record. So you will click on this record. When you click on this record, here it is. From our previous class, I think we did the same thing, so it is here. When you do the record, there are 2 tabs. If you pay attention here, for 1 second, let me hang on for a second here. I'll show it to you. That here, if you see in the top, there is a web and then there is a Windows, right? Of course, we are not doing a Windows, we are doing a web. So this should be the one which we should be looking at, and that's what we are looking at. Okay, in here there are 2 buttons. If you see, this is one and this is one, right? So the bottom one should be clicked, right? And here you should type the address or the URL of the AUT, application under test. The URL of it is what? The URL is, as you can see, it is www.trainingrite.net/online. And what browser we'll be using? We'll be using Internet Explorer. When we go into version 12, you will find here in this list some more browsers. Right now, you just see Internet Explorer there, but later on you'll find more browsers in here. So right now, that's that. Now, make sure that these 2 are checked and you hit what? You hit OK. When you do that, notice what happens right now. A browser will open up and it takes you to this site, right? And as you can see, it took us to this site. As you can see, it took us to this TrainingRite.net online. It took us to this site. So if I was doing it automation, this is what I have to do. Open a browser and navigate to this. And even when I run it, later on when I run it, this should happen and it will happen. So once when I'm running the automation test, I have to check if it opened Internet Explorer and navigate to that. I have to do that. So right now it did it, but I am not running it. I'm just configuring the test, right? So here I will come in here and I will say that catalog search, right? In here I have to do, let's say the item is Panasonic. I'm looking for the Panasonic products, right? So I do Panasonic and I click on go. When I click on go, it is showing me some Panasonic TV, and the Panasonic TV is there, the price is there, and everything is there, right? So now how do I know that this price, this 600, this is the price it is showing up? I mean, when I look at it, it is shown. But in automation, how I can make sure that the price is shown, there is something called checkpoint. There is something called a checkpoint. So I got to make sure that I can have a checkpoint where it shows me that, okay, price is there. There's a checkpoint for this text. The text is $600. There's a checkpoint for that. There is a checkpoint for this description, which is Panasonic TV. There's a checkpoint for a picture. So I should know as how to do the checkpoints. So later on, I'll show you as how to do the checkpoints. It is as easy as going in here, insert checkpoint, and then it will ask me what checkpoint you want. And I can say that I'm looking for a standard checkpoint or a text checkpoint or a bitmap checkpoint and all that. I'll show it to you later on as how to do that. Right now, this is what I want to do. So I will just hit, let me just close the browser. So where is the browser? Let me close the, hang on. Here is the browser. So let me close the browser. I close the browser. When I come back into QTP, right, I see that my test is still recording. So I will go and click on stop. So it stopped. But I have what? I have this some 4 lines, some very weird stuff that I am scared right now to even look at it. But I'm happy that something is there. I'm happy something is there. So what I just did is I recorded what? A test case. Which test case I recorded? Well, this test case to do the search functionality. This I recorded. How did I do that? I opened the browser and navigate to that. I recorded that, and then I entered some text and I did that. Now, did it pass or fail? We are not talking about it yet, but I did record, and I should see manually. This I have to figure out whether it happened or not. So I have recorded it. In automation, as I said, you can do the automation by either recording, and then record is one part of it, and you have to run and play it, and that's the second part of it. So I did the first part of it, which is the recording. Now let me see if I could run and play. So in order to check if I could run and play, I should no longer be recording, right? If I was recording, it will show you here in the bottom here, it will show you if I was recording. See that red? Right, it will show recording. Right now I'm not recording, so it is not showing me that as I'm recording, but I have something in here. This is called the script. So whenever you record anything, there are two things that happen in the background. So let us here, whenever you do the recording, right? So here I will say that whenever you record, two things happen, right? A script gets generated, right? So script gets generated, that's number one, right? Which to a certain extent, I could see that there is some script that I cannot understand what that is, but script got generated, right? Okay, that's number one. Number two, that is more important is, right, B, that is more important is, right, let me move this box a little bit here. More important, B is objects gets added to the OR, right? OR stands for object repository, right? Okay, understand, put this in your head. Whenever you record, two things happen. This is basically, this is to find out if we have recorded successfully. Whenever you record, based on a recording, two things will happen. Script gets generated and objects get added to the OR, which is the object repository. Now, script getting generated, okay, I showed it to you, you saw. This part we don't know. What do you mean by objects get added to the object repository? That we don't know. Okay, now let's understand that this will be my last topic for another 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then we are done for the day. So let me show you what is an object repository and how objects, they get added to the object repository. Now, before we talk about object repository and objects get added, first things first, we have to find out what is an object. What is an object, right? Okay, now object, right, means different things to, different, let's say, people, right? Okay, if I have my son, he's a 4-year-old, and if he's playing with something, that becomes an object. He's playing with whatever, maybe a little, tennis ball, or he's playing with whatever. So that's the object, right? Okay, for my son at that time. For me, right now, I'm working on a computer, so I need this object very badly. Which object? My computer, right? So that computer is an object, right? Now, if you need to go from point A to point B, you need an object that can take you from there. So object can anything tangible, something that you use, something. Now, coming back to a tester, and particularly QTP tester, what is an object for the QTP tester, right? What is an object, right? For a QTP tester, right, while he's testing, and what was I testing? I was testing that website, right? I was testing that website. anything in that website that I touch is an object. So I open the browser. So anything a tester touches will become an object. So as a tester, I open the browser. So browser is an object. And I went to a page, that online page. So that page is an object. And in that page, I did what? I went in here and I entered something into this text box, right? So that text box is an object. So that text box is an object, right? And then after entering that in the text box, I click on this go. I don't know what this go is. It looks like a picture or an image or a button. I don't know, but this is an object. So I can say right now that maybe an image or a button, something like that is an object, right? So these things are objects. Right? These things are objects. So these things are object for who? For QTP tester. So we said here, if you go back here, I just said objects, they must get added to the object repository. Now that I know the objects, right? I know these objects. What is an object repository? What is the word repository? Repository is, I mean, if you go to a bank and if you have a lot of money, right, then you have a locker. And locker is your repository. You put inside the locker, right? Your bracelets. You put inside your locker your $100 bills. You put inside your locker, you know, your wills. So this is a repository, right? It holds some objects in it. So object repository in QTP will hold what? QTP objects. What are QTP objects? Like browser, page, right? Okay. Now, let us see, where is it? In a bank, I know where I can find the locker. In a bank, they will take me inside there. But here in QTP, where will I find that? Okay. Now, there are so many things, and forgive me, I'm showing it to you in such a small screen here because we started the team viewer, but I will be showing you, you know, in a much bigger screen next time when we come back, right? So bear with me here because we have very little time or no time left, so I don't want to start like a new test on this machine, so let me just complete it. So now what we have to see is, where is the object repository? So if you see QTP, QTP is like a tool, like any other tool, meaning that it has the menus on the top, right? If you open Microsoft Word, you'll find that menus on the top. Then you'll also have like a toolbar. These are like shortcuts so that you don't have to do many things. You just look at a picture and then you click on that. So that's like a shortcut. So that's your toolbox. And then here you have something on the left, this on the left side, and something on the right side. So I will show you what is there on the left side. On the left side is our test case. So I did not rename my test case. I will do that. And actions are whatever we want to do, our test steps. A test steps was, this was like a search action. Next one is adding an item to the, you know, modifying an item in the shopping cart. Paying for that would be another action. Everything. So all that could be in one action, or we can have multiple actions like that. But this is one test case. This is one test case of a shopping cart test case. So we will be, as we go further in it, we will be working on the left-hand side, which will give us the hierarchical view or a way to navigate into different actions and different test cases. We could have multiple test cases here. So this is the way to interact with our script. So on the right side is our script, right? Now, eventually, we have to create the script with our own hands. Right now, it got generated because of our actions of recording. So two things must happen. One is the script should be there. The other thing is the object repository. Let's take a look into the object repository. Where can I find the object repository? Okay, we'll be ending with this. In order to find the object repository, you could go into right here. See that this part here, right? So when you click on that, that should open the object repository. right? And as you can see, object repository, all objects, and that opens in here. And then I will explain it to you, the different objects. This, when you click on that, it tells you what object it is. This is a browser object. When you go inside the browser object and click on this, it tells you it's a page object. Inside that, when you click on something, it tells you it's another object. This tells you this is another object, image object, right? So here we have objects here inside the object repository. Now, you can either click here to do that, or you could also go and click here inside the resources, object repository, and then it will show, and then you could go and then you could click in there to find out what object it is. Now we recorded it. Now let's run this to find out if it is going to run it or not. So if I go and click on run, and this box will pop up and say that I will write the results of it either in a separate folder or in a temporary folder. Select the temporary folder. Don't worry about it. Just hit OK. And wait and see if it does what it is supposed to do. Open the browser, opens the browser, goes and types in the catalog or whatever, it types, and then it, so you are like, oh, what happened? I could not even see anything, right? It happened so fast, I could not even see anything. But did it happen? Did it do anything? Right? Now, if you want to see whether it did or not, then you have to understand this script. You have to understand the script, and that's where we will start in the next class. I will take every line and I will make you understand each and every line of the script, and then we will go ahead and then we will run it again, and then we will be able to not record it anymore, but then go and even write the script. I can guarantee you, each one of you, every one of you will be able to write the script, not record and run. You will be able to write the script in the next class. So the scripts that you are going to be writing eventually will be all for this shopping cart. Just to give you an idea of this shopping cart, let's say you were buying this Canon camera. So you add an item to the cart. When you add an item to the cart, so this is that item, $200. There is a discount of like $101, like heavy sale going on, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever sale, and your price is $98. Now you say that, oh, I love it, I want to buy like 2 of them. So this is modify. You come in here, you change it to 2, modify, recalculate. So when you recalculate, each one is 200. So when you recalculate, it should be like the total should be 400, right? So you do that. So it is 400. You still get your discount, and it is 297. Wow, you like it, so you want to proceed to the checkout and buy it. When you come to the checkout, you have to come in here, you have to add your address and your credit card number and all that, and eventually go ahead and then submit the order. So all that automation is what we will be doing in the next class. So you will find how to do the automation of a shopping cart, and that's what we'll be doing in the next class, and that's how we will start. And then there is a lot to be learned in this course. When you get out of this, you will, believe it or not, you will be a master of QTP and UFT. That is my promise to you. Okay, with that, our session is going to end today. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, now those of you folks who have not registered, you can go and register on our website, make a payment. We will immediately give you the videos, and the videos will also include today's class. And then we will see you back next Saturday, 1 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. is the time that we will keep, and I will see you back next Saturday. And meanwhile, all those registered students should be getting the video, and you must download the software. Doesn't matter QTP 10 or even UFT 12, whatever, because if you're already registered, we would have given you the videos, and you can watch the videos and see how to do the same thing in UFT 12. There's a video for that. You can watch that. All right, so we are done for the day. This video will be uploaded very soon. So you should have a copy of this. You should be able to watch this video if you have to. All right, thank you so much for being here. I'll see you back next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and have a great week ahead. Enjoy.